What is your "we never speak of this again" story? Story number 1. I was on a road trip with a buddy. We were heading to a 3-day music fest in Tennessee. We drove through the night and were making good time. He was driving, and asked me to take the wheel for a second. I did. He grabbed a Gatorade bottle, unzipped it, and started pissing in the bottle. I was a bit uncomfortable with my hand 6 inches above his exposed D, but we were going 75 miles per hour and his foot was on the gas. We had more pressing concerns, is my point. He finishes up, and in one swift motion, rolls down the window, and lifts the Gatorade bottle toward the window to dump it. Wait, what are you do? Imagine a full bottle of warm piss filling up the entire interior of a car like a fine aerosol spray in a split second. That's what 75 miles per hour wind blowing inward does to a bottle of liquid trying to go outward. I learned that the hard way. Of course it got in my mouth. But that wasn't the worst of it. It was clogging my ears like I had been swimming. It was stinging my eyes. It went so far up my nose that I sneezed it out. Twice. We looked at each other, dripping piss. All I could say was, "Damn it. God damn it, dude." He turned on the AC after a time. Piss droplets blew out onto us. It was dripping on us from the ceiling of the car. We rode for a long time in silence. Do you know what a person in the interior of a car covered in piss smell like after being in 103-degree heat for 3 days, and no means to wash up? I do. Story number 2. So I am in high school and got trashed at a party. Somehow I made it home. In the middle of the night I drunkenly wander into my parents' bedroom, sit on my dad's hamper and take a good, long piss. My dad woke up in the middle of it and pushed me back into my room. I wake up in the morning and go to the living room and see Dad. He starts cracking up and told me what happened. Said we won't tell anyone and to go upstairs and clean out his hamper. Ended up having to buy him a new hamper. My mom never said anything about it, so I have no idea if she knew. My dad passed away about 10 years ago. Since that time my mom told me a story about my dad getting drunk one night shortly after they were married, and she woke up in the middle of the night to see him peeing in his hamper. Apparently, I am totally my father's daughter. And have still never told anyone about it. Story number 3. Warning, graphic story. Years ago my girlfriend and I snuck off to a bathroom after everyone passed out at a house party. We were young, she was fun, and she wanted it in her butt. You got it, champ. I was sitting on the closed toilet, and she was basically doing the stand-up reverse cowgirl thing. Felt great. At some point, one of our drunk friends woke up to piss and came bursting into the bathroom. She jumps up in shock, causing an extremely fast and unexpected pull-out. Poop. Everywhere. The next morning the same drunk friend comes stumbling out of the bathroom after having passed out from his drunken midnight piss. Guys, I got really drunk last night and I think I might have shit on the floor in the bathroom. Damn right you did. Apology accepted, go clean that up. Story number 4. Not so much we never spoke of it again, but I've never spoken of it. In college, skipped the day to play some COD. Got bored and decided to take matters into my own hands. My dorm room was on top floor, 4th, and the window blinds were open. As I was furiously taking out my frustrations, a window washer came up to the window on a suspended scaffold. We locked eyes for a second and he left my window unwashed and slowly went back down. Story number 5. Oh God. When I was 9 I had a friend, Donna. Donna was a little more mature than I was. She brought up sex. The only thing I knew about sex was that it was bad because of an abstinence-only billboard that was up by my grandma's house. Guess what part of America I live in? I told her that it was bad, and she said it's how you make babies, stupid. So naturally she proposes we have sex. We were in our underwear and t-shirts. She leaned in to kiss me and I pulled away. Nothing of any sexual nature happened, but she said that was it, we had sex. So I feared for weeks I was pregnant, and woke up in the middle of night sobbing to my mom that I was pregnant and I had sex with Donna. She explained that's not how any of that worked. My mom and I have never mentioned it again in the past 11 years since. Story number 6. Roommate told me to text him when I got home so we could smoke a cigarette. I thought, that's dumb, he'll be able to clearly hear me coming home. So I knocked on his bedroom door and waltzed in, only to see him taking a dick pic or masturbating, I'm still not sure which. He jolted up and said something along the lines of, "Whoa, hey. And I just said hi. And then we went outside and smoked a cigarette. Story number 7. I was drinking vodka, and I had this guy pal that I was trying to bang, but he refused to bang a drunk girl while he was sober. I grabbed my phone and started looking for some action, no such luck. I eventually passed out and went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I read the text I'd sent in absolute horror. Me, what are you doing? Guy, getting ready for bed, you? Me, drunk, topless, and looking for some fun. Guy, lol, good luck. I'm going to bed. Guy happened to be my boss who just started a few weeks ago. At the time Facebook would merge your friend's contact info into your address book. I never spoke of it again, and had a difficult time looking him in the eye. Story number 8. Growing up, we were poor, and as a teen, I didn't really have access to porn or whatnot, but I was quite a writer. So I would write exotic fiction as a release, in a spiral. Well, one day after writing a particularly sordid story, I came to, and realized I shouldn't leave that stuff around. I went to the kitchen, intending to throw the spiral away, set it down, got a drink, the phone rang, I answered. And left the spiral in the kitchen, forgotten. An hour later my mother comes to me with the spiral and questions. I won't get into it, but she described how a lot of my stories wouldn't really ever happen and were a bit extreme. She threw it away and it never came back up. Story number 9. Here's a recent. My buddies and I actually voiced the phrase "we can never tell this story" in the truck afterwards. Road trip with 2 buddies, Cal and Joel. Driving home, late at night, we're in the mindset that we're tired of sitting in the truck and ready to be home, so we drove through the night to get the miles behind us. Finally, about 3 a.m. we pull off the highway onto a forest road and drive until we see a spot to camp. Decent grassy clearing, looks like someone has had the same idea here before. We pile out and grab our tents and start setting up. Joel is tired and quiet. Cal has the inhuman ability of speaking in a continuous run-on sentence for hours. Doesn't matter what time. Wake him up at 4 a.m. and from a dead sleep he'll start telling you a story before his feet hit the ground. He's funny, too, so it keeps the road trip interesting. Setting up camp, Cal is deep in a half-story, half-rhetorical essay, when he stops. Cold. I look over his way, shining my headlamp on him. His lamp trails off into the trees. Are those eyes? I look where he's looking and stare for a good while, might just be dew on the leaves. Or a marker on the trees. Wouldn't be surprised if this road is used for motorcycle races. We stare a while longer, neither of us can relax. Finally, I grab a shovel and start walking toward the little glowing beads. Neither of us were going to sleep without resolution. Fuck guys, go to bed, Joel announces with confidence. There's no predators in this area. There are. I've seen both bears and cougars in the area. Joel isn't from the area. Cal and I continue on. I cover about half the ground between me and the orbs and I pause. It's so dark and they're so far away I can't quite make out if they're moving slightly or if it's just the shadows cast from my headlamp. I throw a rock. I yell. Pause. Then they blink. Okay. Yep, it's an animal and it's not scaring with rocks, I say toward Cal, slowly walking backward. It clearly sees us. It's watching me. Cal agrees, let's just watch it for a while. We finish setting up our tents, keeping a light on the creature at all times. Finally, it starts to move. The 2 little orbs raise a few inches off the ground and start strafing us, rocking ever so slightly back and forth as they start a wide circle skirting our campsite. A slight pause here and there, but they continue to close in even as we unleash a thunderstorm of rocks and yelling and quickly sidestep toward the truck. Joel, whatever it is, it's moving our way. Keep a light on it. Keep a light on it. Joel yells and fumbles with his tent zipper. He's already taken his pants off and comes booking toward the truck, emanating his own light from his pasty white thighs. He gets inside and sits in the back. Cal and I are perched on either side of the truck ready to jump inside so fast we're bound to knock heads over the gear shift. The creature is behind a bush about 20 feet from the truck at this point. The leaves are shifting slightly. It's still coming. Cal and I share a couple words of encouragement. Waiting. Waiting. And then the bushes part. When the claw sunk into Cal's neck, he screamed and I dove over the cab. Just kidding. The bushes part and a fucking deer walks out and right up to the truck. Turns out people did camp here before and apparently they fed the fucking deer. Whatever survival instinct once was in this long-legged forest rodent was long gone. And we were 3 men in their jammies crouching in a truck, hiding from it. Full disclosure, I've actually told the story a few other times.